Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, people of the internet world. Travis Wallstein with AirServe Heating and Air Conditioning and Wallstein Plumbing in Council Bluffs, Iowa. Welcoming you to another round of Circle of Trades. It's been a couple weeks, and wanted to get some new episodes, get some new people on, and I've got the privilege of having actually probably my son Hayden, one of his very best friends in the whole wide world, Ryan Main, on tonight. Ryan's got a very interesting story because he's in the horse business. We'll talk about that a little bit. But Ryan, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. Just getting done working tonight, and now I'm on here.
Yeah, there you are. So talk a little bit about what you're doing right now. I mean, obviously you've we'll talk about your history, kind of what brought you to this point, but talk to me about what you're doing now at Triple M Stables and what you guys got going on.
Yeah, so basically what I do, I start horses, and then I do the cow horse event, and I also do the rope horse side as far as training rope horses and stuff too. So my biggest thing is starting colts right now. I'm at that young age. It's kind of one of those things on paying your dues. That's kind of where I'm at right now as far as building up, and I'm working into the show stuff. So I start a lot of the horses here, and then they kind of stay for about 60 to 90 days, kind of get a good start on them. And then I kind of rotate from there. I just keep horses coming in and out. And then I'll also get some others coming in as far as like maturity horses, whether they stay with me or they're going to go on to just say a bigger trainer or something. I will get those started as well, get them on live cattle, on working the flag, things like that. And then if they're an open caliber horse or something like that, then they go to a bigger trainer and kind of go from there. But that's a lot of what I do. So,
yeah. Well, this has been kind of your, I don't want to say a life story, but you grew up into this. You grew up in this. Am I correct or am I wrong on that?
No, you're right. I grew up showing Appaloosas. It's kind of something I've done my whole life. We did it from when I was, really little. I grew up showing just in the games and stuff, and we got hauled around everywhere to these events. And there's certain people that I look up to that kind of probably influenced me more than others as far as going along doing this and why I'm here. So, but yeah, I grew up doing all this.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that's the thing. And like I said, from we moved here when my boys were 10 years old, and I know you and Hayden got along really well, kind of from the get go, and
Yeah.
Like I said, I grew up in a farming background, but yours is a little bit different. Yours is more, I don't want to say ranchy, but obviously horses are a whole different world than what you're talking about farming. You're not doing with hogs or cattle, you're
Yep.
dealing with horses, and horses have in this day and age have a sentimental value that most people don't understand. There's a certain percentage that absolutely love horses. They have them. They take them to places like yours, and you have to appreciate the love and the time and the effort they put into them. It is something, growing up on a hog farm in Northwest Iowa, it's like, for me, it's kind of like, well, wait a minute, take the hogs for 90 days, you take them to slaughter. You don't do that with horses, do you?
No, probably the best way to put it these days is they're basically like a college athlete.
Yeah.
You basically are getting them started and getting them ready to perform at a high level. So it's a day in and day out. As far as the training aspect goes, it's just like back when I used to play football and stuff. We played, just on Friday nights, but we put in all the time before, and it's relatively the same thing. So you're building up to get to that point, but I think that's the biggest misconception these days is that um, they're not really used much, I would say, as like a work aspect anymore. Like that's kind of the old way. This is a performance level now, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
I'm after or into. And I think that's the best way to describe it is they're they're like the athletes, and
Mm,
if that's kind
yeah.
of a good way to put it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And from you talking about it and from what you've done and what your family's done, I guess I should say just you. Obviously, you're there, you're working at Council Plus, but I know your sister's been involved. Obviously, your dad has done it forever, so I don't want to remiss on him.
Yep.
Um, but you grew up loving. I mean, is this something you acquired? Is this something that you when you um, when you were growing up that you actually just learn to love, or was it something? Hey, once you started doing it, um, what besides your family making you doing it, what attracted you to this?
Um,
It's not the money, by the
it ain't the money. Tell you what, there's an older guy that I've always kind of looked up to, and I just always admired how his work ethic and what he could do to get done on these horses and stuff. And that was kind of one of the big things. And then once I kind of got into high school and stuff, um, I kind of found out a lot of people kind of told me I maybe had a little bit of a niche for it. Kind of a quieter person. I get along good with horses, and I'm not overly aggressive with them. So it was kind of something that I was almost, you could say, maybe a little gifted with. Um,
hmm
so when I kind of got into high school, I worked over at Reed Anderson's place, and that was probably where I really kind of learned that um, I could take this to the next level. And
hmm
there's a lot of people there that kind of saw me at a young age and really probably just seen potential, I guess is the best way to put it,
Yeah.
and really helped me out with a lot of stuff. And then from there, it was kind of a trickle effect on um, kind of going out and riding with some other guys that have made a name, made a living for themselves, and it just kind of kept going from there to where I'm at now, I suppose.
Mm. Well, yeah. Let's talk about your history. Obviously, in high school, your family had a place. You rode up at Reed's, and you worked with him, and obviously he's been a horse trainer for a long time. But then you went and spent some time over in Central Iowa too. So talk a little bit about your history that led you back. You had some family business, but you left and went and saw some other stuff, and kind of what brought you back to it. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, actually, what really started it was I went up to Logan, Iowa first, and
Mm-hmm.
I lived up there for quite a long time. And then that's where I really kind of figured out that's what I wanted to do. And from there, I was just kind of starting colts and stuff up there, and I kind of wanted to get a little bit more. So that's when I decided I want to take that next step. And I went, and this is probably the best way to put it for like the horse training stuff. But I went and worked under a guy that's really accomplished in the show world, and that was kind of like my college. So
Mm-hmm.
I really went out there and embraced everything as far as his program, how he does a lot of stuff with not just his horses, his day to day life as far as how he goes about the business, how he treats the people, how he gets other employees and stuff in there, and how he gets them comfortably living and stuff like that as well. So I just kind of went out and learned and seen it for what it was to um, really understand how to do it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well, and with livestock, I don't care what livestock you're living in. It's a 7 day a week operation. So,
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit. I mean, a lot of people work Monday through Friday, think, oh my God, I need a weekend or I need a day off. Obviously, with livestock, guess what? Livestock have to eat on Saturday and Sunday. You need to ride. You got people on the weekends that want to come out and see their, their horses and what's going on, and
Yep.
want to see certain things. So, talk about that. Talk about that because I don't think people understand, what that's about unless you've done livestock of some sort. And I don't care what the animals. Talk about that a little bit and what that's like for you.
So that's probably one of the toughest parts is that it is 7 days a week. There is no days off as far as it goes. I mean, you dang sure can go put your feet up Sunday afternoon or something if you're lucky. But it is, you got to feed in the mornings and you got to feed at night. And whether it's 30 below or 110 out, it's got to be done.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one thing that a lot of people don't realize. But you do everything you can to take care of those horses. And any livestock, whether it's hot or whether it's cold out, you're out there doing it, and you're the one taking care of them. The thing that kind of can wear on you probably the most is probably when you're doing all that and you have the people still trying to come on weekends and stuff when you're either trying to get caught up on other things and you could have done stuff during the week, but you just kind of got to learn to I guess maybe not get shoved around so much and kind of set things up a little bit better and plan around everybody's schedule, not just your client, I guess is a good way to put it.
Well, because the people that are coming on the weekend, I mean, they're helping pay the bills.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong. So you don't want to just push them off, but at the same time, you still have responsibilities.
Yep.
And things that you have to get done. And obviously you want to have a little bit of a life. Unfortunately, and I don't want to say this because people that do horses love it. It is their life. That's how they are. Everybody that I've known that's been in the horse industry and livestock in general, they love it. And but it's hard for most people to understand it. And so when they come out, I say like you want to be respectful, but at the same time, it's like, hey, I still got to get a job done.
Yeah, and I think the reason for that is because their weekend is the weekend. So for me, it doesn't really work like that. Like you might get a Monday or a Tuesday off that's slow, but Saturday and Sundays they're dang sure busy. I mean, with people here and there, but that just goes back to it because they work Monday through Friday. So they want to come see that horse go, or they want to be around it on the weekend, which makes you have to be out there and kind of show where you're at as far as how that horse is coming along or whatever it takes. So that is probably the biggest thing right there with that.
Mm-hmm. Well, there you go. Got COVID. I'll give you
good thing we're on a
podcast. So yeah, no, but that's, when you talk about that, like I say, you have to be respectful of it, obviously. So, talk about, because your dad had for a long time, you went away and learned some stuff and you came back, started doing stuff there. But you guys got some interesting stuff going on. You have a lot of people that come. You have trailers that come in, people that bring their horses to overnight or weekend, whatever it is. So if you have if they have the show over in Omaha at CHI, or if they got something at Mid-America, talk a little bit about what you guys do for people that are traveling and bringing horses into town, because don't take me wrong. A lot of people don't think of Iowa as horse country. I mean, it's farming, but not a lot of people think of Iowa as horse country. They think about Nebraska, Kansas, Texas. Iowa's kind of like, well, they're just a bunch of corn farmers. So talk about what you guys are able to do when people come in and they need to have their horses a place for them to stay, corrals, and that kind of stuff.
So one of the things about that is we're sitting right off the interstate here. 3 or 4 miles off the interstate, and whether there's a rodeo event going on, just a local jackpot, horse show, whatever it is, we're kind of like it's basically a horse motel kind of type thing is the best way to put it. These people will come in just for a short night, put their horses up, and some people will stay. We'll have electrical for them, or others might go to hotels or whatever. But we provide the stalls and all the cares as far as like cleaning the stalls and stuff like that is all done after I do all that. And the only thing they got to do is provide their own feed. So, which is a good thing, because once them horses get on the road and stuff, you don't want to be the one in charge of feeding that stuff. You want all them to be on their own deal. So it works out good for us. It's just a kind of a little extra income, I'd say. But we've met some really, really cool people, big time rodeo people, just your average, everyday, really nice people. But it's worked good for us as far as keeping things afloat, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. And if you're a horse person, I mean, and you're bringing, let's say, River City Roundup or Sydney Rodeo or Carson Rodeo, when you have livestock that you're bringing in for whatever, or you're traveling, let's say you're going from Minnesota down to Texas and you need this stay up overnight. And listen, the horses are riding that same ride that you're riding in a vehicle, but they're just in a trailer in the back bouncing around.
Yep.
They need to be able to have some, I don't know if normalcy is the right word, but they need to have some sort of, I guess, a normal life to what they're used to. So,
Yep.
And I think if you're an animal lover, I mean, I don't know if that's the right word to use, but if you're a horse lover, that's important, because a healthy horse and a happy horse, let's say you got to take for competition, you got a horse that's rattled up, guess what? They can do worth the shit at competition. Let's be honest about it.
Yep. You want to take as good as care you can with them. So getting them off the trailer, making sure they're eating and drinking, saying that same happy, same body energy and all that stuff. You want to make sure that's all still happening. So something like this, just for that horse to get off that trailer and relax for a few hours, kind of lay down. That some of them stalls that we put those horses next to, they can have their buddy they can see right next to them. So everything kind of takes a deep breath, and that horse can relax and just kind of get ready for the next day instead of just staying on that trailer and whatnot. So,
yeah. Well, and I want to talk about your facilities a little bit. Obviously, you have your big horse, your main horse stable, but you got a large corral up on the back side. I guess I would put back on the northeast corner of the facility, where you've got yourself a big corral where you can work outside with the horses and do different things. So talk about that a little bit. So
yeah, last year, actually about a year ago, I started putting up an outdoor arena. Did some dirt work and stuff up there, kind of expanded that a little bit. And then it's 100 and something by 200. And,
it's big. It's big. They made a flat spot out where there's a damn hill. I can tell you that.
Well, then I ended up putting the return alley and then the rope and chutes and everything up there. And it's big enough to rope in, and I can work cattle and stuff up there as far as cutting. I can go down the fence up there, working those cow horses and stuff. And also there is a little pen back there to where I can hold those cattle at night and keep them fed too. So that was probably one of the biggest stepping stones for me as far as keeping this afloat and taking this to the next level, because that was one direction that I really wanted to go. I didn't want to just continue starting colts and doing that over and over. This kind of opened up a different door for me as far as doing the rope horses, being able to work these cow horses up there in a bigger arena, and just kind of seeing you can get your horses a lot nicer and do a lot of things. So also, too, the cattle was huge for me, because you've got to have live, fresh cattle to work. It's just like practicing any kind of sport. If you're not going to practice to get ready, you might as well just stay home. So you've
Yeah.
got to be ready. So that
Yeah.
was one of the biggest things for me.
Yeah. And I can vouch him and my son now. Ryan's a much better my son at roping, but there's about 8 years ago there was a senior football deal, and him and my son decided to rope me. And thank God I was 300 pounds because I had to beat both their asses. But
Yeah.
there's still video. There's still video out there somewhere. Oh my God! So
Yeah, I forgot about that.
now I know you've done some show. You've gone through. You've gone out to Grand Island and you've went down south. I know you've talked about going and doing some shows in Dallas. And I'm not going to pretend to know all. My son Hayden knows more about this. So when I talk about this because you're wanting to get involved in the circuit a little bit. Is that the right way to put it then, as far as doing roping and stuff, or what are you wanting to? I guess I would call it your fun time, but it's kind of like, hey, I do this for a living, but I want to go out and have a little bit of fun too. So talk about
Yep.
that.
So the thing that I really want to get into is the cow horse. They call that the NRCHA, National Rein Cow Horse Association. But that right now, where I'm at is just kind of there's different levels to it, and I'm in the level 1, and I'm working on. I want to keep growing and getting better and getting more horses in to keep working my way up to the open levels at someday. But right now, I'm just trying to get experience because everything, no matter what you're in, what business, what you do in life, one of the biggest things is experience. Being in a situation to where you kind of have an idea of what could happen or anything, it just takes experience. But that's what I'm going for right now. And when I go down to these shows and stuff, I am kind of dishing that out of my own pocket, using my own horses and my own money and stuff. But it's a way in, and it's a way in to meet the guys that you want to be around and associate yourself with. And like I said, have that learning experience to when you do take on more outside clientele horses that you're more comfortable in these situations.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I know you've talked about it because last year was the big shows went down in Dallas. Am I thinking right? Or am I correct on that?
Yeah,
Fort Worth. Okay,
yeah.
Fort Worth. So that's kind of the big show. I know you talked about that last year. And is that something you're aiming for this year then? Is to go down to Fort Worth, or is that you're kind of, if I get there, great, but where do you
right
sit
now? Yeah, like I do have really big goals, and that is one of them. But if it happens, it happens. But at this point, I'm not trying to just over push everything. I've kind of found that the more I go to these shows and come back home, the more I'm learning and able to keep adding on. So the other thing is too is having enough horsepower and stuff down there to win and do well, I guess is the best way to put it. But if I don't feel like I have enough horse, I don't necessarily know if it's worth putting up the big money and just going and competing. Do I want to? Yes, but you've got to have the horsepower because you want to be in the money at the end of the day, no matter what you want to at least try. So
well, nobody's in this for practice. I don't care if it's HVAC, plumbing, horse riding, farming. I mean, nobody's doing this for practice. If they are, they'd be broke.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So it's a family business. So I mean, and I know your sister's out in that state west of here called Nebraska. I won't hold her against it for that. So. But I knew for a while she was doing some stuff with some youth riders and stuff. Now how much is your dad very much involved with stuff at this point, or where's it's a family business. So talk about a little bit about the people in your staff that you're, that are working with you now, because obviously you've been busy enough. You've got people that you can't do it all yourself. Let's be transparent about it. So let's talk about that.
I mean, to start, my dad, he's still involved as far as running the business and everything. He's kind of taking care of the financial stuff as far as that goes.
Mm-hmm.
He takes care of the checks and kind of keeps things afloat. I mean, that really adds up a lot of time and there's a lot to that. So that takes a lot of pressure off of me with him doing that. He's also, I mean, he's out there. He'll feed and pull the dummy and push cattle up. I mean, turning steers and stuff. I mean, he's kind of more involved now than he probably wanted to be. But
Bob, go away.
But
no, we don't mean that.
Something so fast that it kind of grew more than I could just take on. So I needed the help as far as all that goes. I mean, the feeding stuff, he helps out there, and I mean, I'm still riding at night when they're still feeding. So it's kind of part of it, but just those kind of things, they all add up. We've got another employee that works here too. She rides horses, and she's also going along with starting horses and doing all that as well.
What's her name? What's her name?
Tatum McKee.
Okay, she's from is it Carson or Trainer? Where is she from?
No, up north there.
You're gonna be in trouble for this one.
Yeah, you put me on the spot.
So, but Tatum helps you out. So you have a hired hand there.
Yeah,
she works with you, and so she grew up in this too, correct? She's been in the horse business or wanted to get in, so she's been involved with this too, then, correct?
Yeah, a little bit. She actually went to school and did the horse stuff up there. I believe it was Ellsworth,
okay.
I think I can't remember, but
well, she'll slap you in the back of the head if you're wrong. So that
Anyway, she come down and wanted to do an internship here, and it worked good for me. I mean, I was just kind of getting going, but that was kind of another thing that it was right there in busy season for me. So I was able to bring in a couple more horses and do some other things and have a little bit of extra help. And then it turned into something that she was really interested in and wanted to stay here. And we're thankful enough that we still got her because, I mean, she takes a lot of work. And, I mean, when we're gone, she's the one that pretty much runs the place and all that. So, really, we couldn't do it without her anymore.
Yeah. So. It takes a man to do a woman's job, right?
It does.
Now I'm going to be in trouble.
Yeah, I just agreed.
Oh, Lord. So, like I said, so obviously you grew up in the business. The horse business, I know you went to school you went to school at Iowa Western, but this is not what you didn't go to school for to do horse. You grew up in the business, obviously. So, it's like farming. You go to school, get an agronomy degree or a bioscience degree, but if you grew up in the family business, you don't necessarily have to have a degree to understand, put a drill in the ground or run the tractor and all that stuff. Really, the business side of it is what makes a difference. So,
oh man,
so talk a little bit about what if you have somebody, not that there are a lot of people getting into the horse business, and there isn't hundreds of people wanting to jump into it, but let's say if someone's going to come and talk to you and say, hey, I think I want to do this. Besides, what would you tell that person? Because I mean, there's people that think they're interested in it, but I don't think they understand that this is a 7-day-a-week deal. But if someone really is, what would you tell that person who would be interested in doing what you're doing?
So that's kind of a tough question. Just because you want to be encouraging to them, and you do want to. Just like you said, because there's not very many people that are interested in it or want to do it. But one of the biggest things is, uh, I think it could be any kind of business though, but the sacrifice that you make to do this, whether it's friendships, relationships, family time, family events, things like that. That's what a lot of people aren't prepared for to really be successful. If that does that kind of make a little sense, but if I was going to tell somebody something, I just kind of tell them that you kind of got to feel it out and see how bad you really want it. Because if you do, those things will happen. But yeah, I mean, that's probably the toughest deal is how much you sacrifice to be successful. So
it's how do I want to say this? Yeah, if you're looking into this to become rich, there's the very few percentage that like get into what you do, that get into the writing and stuff to make the big money. Correct me a lot. It's a labor of love. Your friends that you make, your friends that are involved in the business like you are, and so you go to a horse show and you might know 15 or 20 people, and they're living the same lifestyle that you are. So
yep.
you know, and you know, not that you don't have high school friends, not that you don't have other friends. Don't get me wrong, but the people that you hang out with are involved in that business become your friends, in some ways your family, because that's kind of how the business is. Am I correct or am I wrong in that?
No, you're right. It's and they know the ins and the outs too. So those are the people you kind of maybe you flock towards a little bit more because you get to have those conversations with the real stuff that's going on, the daily struggles, the things that you deal with, that they deal with. That it doesn't matter if you're the big fish or the little one. You basically still have the same problems.
Oh, oh yeah, absolutely, you do.
If that makes sense. But yeah.
Yeah. So
So yeah, a lot of that you for sure just you get closer with those people just because of how much in common you guys have.
oh, absolutely. Well, they because they're the same circles for what you do, and you know an example would be, and you know you got Shady Acres up on Highway 6. They're not able to take horses, but you know you run in the same circles and you find out. And I know this from people that I talk to in my field. It's like, you know, your guys' name comes up quite a bit. If I know they're in the horse business or if they're into that business, I'll ask them. I said, hey, do you know Bob? Do you know Ryan? And I'll say that Ryan was, like I said, still is probably one of Haynes' best friends in high school. You know, and there's kind of a big circle locally. I mean, you all know each other, right? It's not a huge thing.
No.
You know, they might have your opinions of you, but
Oh yeah. Doesn't matter what it is. Everybody's got an opinion of you.
you know,
So
they're like assholes. Everybody's got one, right?
yeah. Just keep yours to yourself.
That's right. So what do you do for off time? I mean, not that you have off time, but if you have off time, what do you do? What do you do for pleasure? What do you like to do in your off time?
Um,
Come hang out. Come hang out at the Wallsteins up in Underwood or at my house,
yeah.
instead of talking bullshit.
Actually, that's kind of one of my things that if I'm getting away from the barn, whether it's your guys' place or going and talking to Reed or somebody, that's kind of what I do. I just try and get away. I don't golf or do anything. Yeah, usually just kind of go hang out and meet up with some friends of mine and just that's my way of relaxing, getting away from the stuff. So
Yeah, just to be normal, even if it's for a couple hours.
yeah,
It's kind of it's nice. So your sister's still out in Grand Island.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. She's out there. So
My favorite story about Bob Main, and I'm going to throw this out here, and I'm going to throw your sister under the bus, and she's going to hate me forever. I remember one time your sister was selling Thrive. She was one that you love your sister, but she likes to sell. She used to like to sell the thing about that. She used to be Thrive would change your life. And your father, I saw him one day at the Gold Mining Council Bus. He says, "You think Thrive will change your life? Let me tell you something. If you pick up a fucking pitchfork and you scoop shit, that will change your life." It's still one of my top 5 favorite things of all time.
Yeah.
And I know he wasn't trying to mock your sister, but it's like, oh my God, it is typical Bob mate. So
That's how he is.
We've had our moments, but I do love your dad because it's like, well, there ain't no bullshit in that whole deal.
No, he's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. So if you're telling people, obviously you've got a business you're running, so we're just to give you an idea with where we're at. Council Bluffs, Iowa is right across from Omaha, off the intersection of Interstate 29 and Interstate 80. So if you're in the Council Bluffs, Omaha area, if you want to get to your guys' place, you're like 10 minutes off the interstate. It's not very far.
No.
If you were going to talk to people, and listen, I got friends in Texas and Indiana, all over the country that do watch this. So, talk to me. If you had someone who's going to come and stay overnight, want to know a little bit about you. I said, do you have a website? Do you have, how people find out about you and what you guys offer?
There is stuff on the internet as far as the overnight stabling and stuff like that. But that's probably the best way to look it up. But you can also just look up the farm, which is Triple M Stables, and then whether you call the barn or my phone or whatever, usually we can get you guys in. So usually it's just an overnight deal, but we've also had people where it's been a 2 or 3 day deal where they've laid over as well, staying for rodeos right around local area. So as long as everything's opened up, we can usually get everybody in. It's just it kind of depends on the events going on and how much you can take. If there's not a lot going on, it's just people passing by, usually you call, you can get in. When you got like the big rodeos in Omaha, the one in Council Bluffs, Sydney and Carson, that's when you kind of have a lot of people calling, maybe say a month ahead or so. I mean, it gets packed here. So when there are big events like that, then it's best to dang sure call ahead and make sure you're going to come. So
how many horses you currently got on site right now? If you were ballpark, I mean, I won't hold you to a number.
Like total on the place?
Yeah.
Oh, probably 35 or so.
35. So if you had some coming, what is your max capacity? I know it's not a whole lot more than that, but what is your max capacity, especially for an overnight situation?
Well, we've taken in 15 horses. That's with the stalls in here and stuff. We'll take all these show horses and stuff and just either put them up in our old barn or put them out. A couple of these guys can go out together, just like that we were talking, that big pen we put up. We've kicked horses out in there at night and stuff and let them just buck and play and eat and just kind of relax for a night and then bring them back down the next day. But we've had up to 15 people or 15 horses here at a time. So that's about as much as we can get in unless somebody's going to bring as far as like their own electrical fence and stuff, which some people will do that when they're down next to their trailers. We've had that before. And,
really? So they'll set up right around the trailer and have the horse out there in the parking lot.
But like I said, that one's kind of on them. So if they want to hook up and have their horse around there, that's fine. But that horse gets loose or something, that don't be calling me.
That's on them. Hey, if they're coming across, if that horse is out Pioneer Trail at 2:00 in the morning, and I'm on my way home, which I'm usually not out at 2:00 in the morning, but I've had him out there at 11 or 12. It's like, hey, Bob, or I've called you and said, hey, there's a horse out
Yeah.
in the field.
They keep things interesting, that's for damn sure.
Well,
They don't seem
they're-
to stray too far, but we've
Yeah.
had them out.
Well, it happens. You know, they're horses. They're not humans. So,
Yeah.
you know, but so, but yeah. Listen, you know, and this is what I'll say. And you know, I've known you for shit. I've known you since you've been 10 years old, and
Yeah.
you've been through a lot. I still call you a kid, although you're 25, 26 years old now. And,
Yeah.
and you finally run north and south. You don't run east and west when I was coaching in middle school football. You and EJ would run east and west. I finally got you committed to run north and south. Once you figured that out, you got to be
I
a
was
pretty
pretty
good running
good
back
once
in
I
high
figured
school.
that out.
Yeah, well, you know, you're a slow learner, but you figured it out eventually.
Yeah.
So, kid's got a heart of gold. He loves horses. Good with people. He's kind of quiet. You know, get a couple bush lights into him. He's a little bit more talkative. So, wears his tail off. You know, him and my son. There's a few friends you went to high school with, and work your butt off. And you know, you've taken a road that's not an easy road. I mean, you know, there's more money in other things than what you're doing, but you know, there's a bigger picture, I think, for what you're looking at.
Yeah.
You know, and I respect the hell out of it. I'll be honest with you, because that's tough. I mean, you're every day you're fighting for, you know, what you do.
Yeah.
You know, and that's tough. I mean, when I opened my own business 15 years ago, you know, we've done that. We're doing the plumbing business now. My Hayden's getting a chance to figure that out. You know, it all sounds easy till you go out and have to do it every day. And, you know, you understand that. And, you know, what I would tell you and what I would encourage anybody that's doing it, you know, no one's going to hand you shit. You know,
Nope.
you gotta be willing to work your ass off every day. You know, Saturdays, Sundays. You know, if you want time out, family's important. Don't get me wrong, but you know, guess what? Like with your world, horses need fed. You know, with plumbing, if their shitter's broke on Sunday, you got to go out. You know, HVAC, if it's 95 degrees, guess what? You're out working. That's part of what you do.
Yep.
You know, it's not always easy, and it looks easy until you're the person out doing it. So, I respect the hell out of you for what you're doing. Obviously, it's a family business. You know, you've learned a lot by going away, and now you're back home trying to do something. And you know, Ryan, I wish you nothing but success, and you know, with what you're doing.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. So, and if you want to learn more about it, you know, you can always call Ryan. Ryan, what's the best way to get a hold of you if someone wants to talk to you?
Usually just calling my cell phone. That's about the best way to get a hold of me.
Yeah. Look up Triple M Stables online.
Yep.
And if you know me personally and you want to know more about it, if you would travel through the area, you know, go to AirServe Council Bluffs, Wallstein Plumbing Council Bluffs, call my cell phone. I got plenty of contacts too. I can definitely get you in contact with Ryan as well in his business. And Ryan, I appreciate your time tonight. So
Yeah, thank you for having me. That was really cool.
no, not a problem. Sounds good. Until next time, and we got some more guests lined up. This is Travis Wallstein with Ryan Bain signing off. So thank you very much.